The waiting room went silent when Daniel walked in. His suit was pressed but clearly old, his tie slightly frayed. In one arm he held a folder of carefully prepared resumes, in the other, he carried his 5-year-old daughter, Lily, whose small fingers clutched a stuffed rabbit. Every pair of eyes in the room followed them. Whispers filled the air. Why would he bring a child here? This isn't daycare. Daniel felt the sting of judgment, but he kept his head high. He had no choice. His babysitter had cancelled last minute, and missing this interview wasn't an option. This was his one shot at a job that could finally give him stability. Lily tugged at his sleeve and whispered, "Daddy, are they mad at us?" He bent down, kissed her forehead, and said softly, "No, sweetheart. They just don't know our story." When the receptionist called his name, Daniel stood. He braced himself for the awkward conversation he was sure would follow. But as he entered the sleek, glass-walled conference room, something unexpected happened. The CEO, an older woman with kind eyes and silver hair, looked up from her notes. Her gaze landed on Lily, and instead of frowning, she smiled warmly. Without hesitation, she stood, pulled up 2 chairs, and placed them side by side at the head of the table. "One for you," she said to Daniel, "and one for our special guest." The room gasped. Daniel froze, unsure if this was kindness or mockery. But then the CEO knelt down to Lily's level and asked, "Do you like coloring?" "Because I always keep markers in my desk for moments like this." She handed Lily a stack of paper, and Lily's shy smile lit up the room brighter than any chandelier. Daniel sat down, nerves still rattling. But as the interview began, the questions felt different, not like an interrogation, but like a conversation. The CEO asked about his skills, but also about his life. Daniel, though cautious, admitted that being a single dad had taught him more about patience, problem-solving, and leadership than any office ever could. Halfway through, Lily looked up from her drawing and announced proudly, "My daddy is the best. He always finds a way." Silence fell again, but this time, it wasn't judgment. It was realization. Several board members shifted in their seats, their eyes softening. The CEO leaned back, her face thoughtful. When the interview ended, Daniel gathered his papers, ready for polite rejection. He stood to leave, but the CEO stopped him. "Mr. Evans," she said firmly, "I don't just see a candidate. I see a man who shows up no matter the circumstance, who doesn't let obstacles stop him, who has the heart to balance responsibility with determination. That's the kind of leader this company needs." Daniel blinked. "Are you offering me the job?" "Not just offering," she smiled. "Welcoming you. And when you start, don't worry about bringing Lily if life gets complicated. We'll make room. Always." Tears burned in Daniel's eyes. For the first time in years, he felt the weight of struggle lift. He knelt, hugged Lily tight, and whispered, "We did it." The room, once filled with judgment, now filled with something else, respect. A simple act of compassion had turned strangers into witnesses of something powerful, humanity. As Daniel left with Lily skipping beside him, the CEO watched from the doorway. She knew everyone in that room had just learned a lesson: success isn't measured only in resumes or suits, but in resilience, love, and the courage to keep going. And so, what began with stares ended with applause in silence, a reminder that sometimes, all it takes is one person pulling up an extra chair to change someone's life. That night, Daniel sat on the edge of his worn-out couch, staring at the job offer letter on the table. It didn't feel real. Just hours ago, he'd been worried about feeding Lily for the week. Now, he was looking at a future where stability wasn't just a dream. It was finally within reach. Lily crawled into his lap, clutching the crayon drawing she had made during the interview. "Daddy," she said, her voice full of pride, "I drew us a house with a garden. Do you think we can have one someday?" Daniel swallowed hard. He had spent years putting aside his own dreams, living paycheck to paycheck, always one emergency away from disaster. But tonight, for the first time, he let himself believe. Yes, sweetheart. Someday soon. A few weeks later, Daniel started at the company. On his first day, he walked through the glass doors in the same old suit, but this time, he carried confidence instead of fear. His co-workers greeted him warmly, many of them remembering the moment from the interview. And true to her word, the CEO treated him not just as another employee, but as someone with dignity. She checked in on him, made sure he had flexibility, and even introduced a new company policy. A simple but powerful rule that encouraged employees to never feel ashamed about balancing work and family. For some, it meant bringing children when childcare failed. For others, it meant leaving early for a school recital or taking time off when a parent fell ill. What had started as one man's struggle became the seed of a culture shift across the entire company.